HUGIN 304DF is Novator Solutions' mobile monitoring receiver and direction finder. It provides 64 channels and enables simultaneous monitoring, listening, and recording of analog, clear voice, push-to-talk communications. In this demonstration, I'll be showing you how to use HUGIN 304DF and the various aspects of the user interface that make it possible to use the system effectively in multiple vehicles, in on-the-move deployments for EWN signals intelligence, border control, or even search and rescue. HUGIN 304 is controlled from the Tactical Command Software, or TCS. This is the user interface and the software that you see on screen right now. Now, within TCS, there are multiple GUIs that allow you to see different aspects of the signals that are intercepted and really take different views that give you a complete overview of the electromagnetic spectrum that you're acquiring. So the first thing that we're going to actually do here is start an active mission. So I will go to Commands and Start New Mission, and let's call this Example Mission. So now that I've started it, you'll see that no longer does it say that there's no mission selected. An active mission is now beginning. And then the next thing that we'll do is actually set up our channels. And so down here at the bottom, we have the ability to configure multiple channels manually, or if we've actually set these channels up before, because we know that there are certain frequencies where push-to-talk communications are going to be most prevalent, or we know the frequencies that we need to be monitoring for our particular mission, we can actually set those up beforehand and save them. And so what I'm actually going to do here is, so for tuner 1, I'm going to set up the frequencies stored in this CSV file. If I take a quick look, just in Notepad, then we can see the various aspects of the channels that we're setting, whether it's the frequency, the bandwidth, squelch levels, gain values, and then we're setting that up for multiple channels. So if I select this CSV and say open, then you'll have just seen a number of channels populate down in this window. And now we are actively monitoring each of these channels. You'll see that we're starting to actually pick up some signals. And if I start actually enabling some of these, then hopefully if there's enough going on, if there are enough transmissions, then soon enough we'll start to hear some of this traffic. There's just a hint of it crackling into life, but I suspect that we'll hear more. In the meantime, while we wait for that, I'll actually show you how you can manually set up a channel.
Heading is 165, Papa Pola 770 Alpha.
773 Alpha, sounds like for inbound 75 and no report traffic outside control I see.
Right, heading 175, Papa Pola 770 Alpha.
In fact, there you go. There you could actually hear some of the traffic, potentially actually from the airport, which is not too far from our office. Our office is located in Stockholm, and Arlanda Airport is not too far away, and so we can often pick up some of the traffic from there. And so let's next, as I said, actually set up a channel ourselves. In this case, we can see on the screen, this is FM radio here, so there are lots of channels that we know are going to be in operation. If we actually set it, let's say to 105.5, megahertz, and then I allow playback of the audio. Now the actual reception, the signal strength within our office from just the standard FM radio is not great, so it's a little bit jumbled. But you can hear, you can see how easy it is to just set up a channel on a particular frequency. And then the other thing that you should note on this initial screen, where you actually set up your tuners and you set up the configuration of your channels, is that you can also see the angle of arrival or the line of bearing to the signals that you've collected. And so right now, for this particular mission, because we're not moving, we've just manually set our heading in degrees. But most typically, this would actually be relative to your direction of travel in a moving vehicle, and so you're able to see which direction those emissions are coming from. Finally, if I actually press Control and L, then you'll see the legend, which will give you all of the varying commands that you can use to cycle through and set particular characteristics for your channels and your tuners, and even for cycling through the varying GUIs within the software. This means that if you're operating the HUGIN 304DF from the back of a moving vehicle, for example, it's much easier to actually go through and do and do your settings like this rather than trying to use the mouse and the trackpad. It's really optimized for on-the-move deployments. So next up, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the graphical view of the activities in the spectrum. And so once again, I'll press Control L, bring up my legend, and we'll see that Alt and 2 will take us over to that screen. So if I hit Alt 2, then actually now what we're going to see is a graphical depiction of all of the interceptions that have been made on the channels that we're monitoring. So we see each of the frequencies that we're monitoring over time. And down at the bottom here, we will eventually see a full list over potentially hours of a particular mission of all of the interceptions. Now, since I only started this mission a few minutes ago, we only see a relatively small amount of data there. But what we can do is try and listen in on older interceptions. Now, this could be something that you've just missed almost kind of real time during the mission, or it could be looking back at frequencies that you weren't able to listen in on in real time. So let's give this one a go. I'll double click on it.
Right, heading 280 and Pascal 70. Thank you, Derek Alpha. Okay, it's retarded.
Then it'll hop to the next interception on that channel.
Right heading 290 and 5,000 feet, confirm KNH 1020 117. 5,000, 117.
Oscar Foxtrot, contact parameter Avro Moment 105.
I'm going to hit the escape key to actually stop that from running now. But this gives you a very quick indication of how you can go in and listen back to the interceptions that have been made. Next up, we're going to take a look at the map view. So if I hit Control L again, you'll see the map view is Alt 3. So let me hit that. And we can come over and actually view so our position here in Sollentuna, where our office is near Stockholm. And we can see basically if I take off playing now, we'll see any real-time lines of bearing to signals being acquired. And so you see that we've got some signals out here towards the kind of east northeast. And then we could also I actually select playing now and take off the real-time lines of bearing, I could even come back into here, and if we know that there are particular signals that we wanted to see where they were coming from, so let's just pick something randomly.
6789, can we reduce
Listening in
200
on
knots?
this. We see that being plotted. Let's take a slightly longer transmission.
Heading at 230, clear flight left 26, Postman 6789.
And so we can actually see that being plotted on the map. The other thing to note is that the quality of the bearing, so basically a quantitative measure for how good quality or how accurate that bearing is likely to be, is indicated by the length of the length of the lines on the map. And so you're able to, so if you're picking up multiple signals bouncing, for example, off of objects, and you're picking up multiple bearings for the same signal, you can get some indication of which is most likely to be the best quality and the most likely real position of the emitter of interest. And finally, we're going to look at the fourth of the UIs. So you're going to see here, this is Alt 4 for the interception list. So if I hit Alt 4, we'll hop over to here. And this will show us the list of all of the interceptions that have been made by the HUGIN 304DF receiver on this mission. We can actually cycle down and go through all of these interceptions and view when the interception started and finished, what the duration is, the frequency and the bandwidth, the modulation scheme, which channel it was on, and then also our position in terms of the latitude and longitude. Then back over here to the left, we can see the bearing, so the angle of arrival of that signal, and then also the quality and strength of that bearing. So we can view all of these different elements of the signals that we've acquired during our mission. And so this gives you an overview of the functionality of HUGIN 304DF, an overview of how the software itself operates and what you can achieve with this software. I hope you found the video informative, and if you'd like any more information, please visit novatorsolutions.com and look up the HUGIN 304DF product. Thanks for your time and hope to speak to you soon.